House of the Dragon. It's a little different. Change it up. We could talk about that.
Yeah,
I
let's do it. The first episode of that show was like watching him have his wife cut open is I like it haunts me. Like that was so horrifying watching that happen, and I still have not quite shook it. It's definitely it's still kind of a slow burn, but I really do like the show. I mean, this Lord of the Rings thing came out at the same time,
yeah.
and I just like, man, I've been watching it. I really struggled to get into it because, and I know a little bit of the background of Lord of the Rings from before it, and it just apparently they didn't get all the rights. They only got the rights to what is in the books and the appendixes of the books. So of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, they don't have the rights to the Silmarillion, which is basically like all these collected works from Tolkien. And so people are expecting that they want what's in the Silmarillion, but they uh, they don't have the rights to talk about that unless it's something that was also mentioned in like the appendix of Lord of the Rings or in the book. So you're basically seeing a story about like half the characters they just kind of made up because they have to. And so that's part of the issue. But like that's a pretty well done show in this like fantasy realm. And we're watching House of the Dragon just thinking like, this type of storytelling in this setting is still like the best of the best. Like it's just blows my mind, and it's really just a testament to how much they blew Game of Thrones at the end
At
because
the end.
like
Yeah. So Alex and I are making like the House of the Dragon release and the Rings of Power release sort of like an event for us with two kids. It's like
oh yeah.
we love it when it comes out, and we normally watch TV in our main living room where it's like the couch and the TV on the wall, but we do have a sort of a movie theater set up with a projector and surround sound, and it's in the basement. The couch is less comfortable, the TV's cool and stuff, but like we never go down there, and unless it's like a big thing. So we've been
When it's
like,
like all dark, that's the best.
yeah, we go down there, we make it dark. Ghost lays on the like rug in front of us, and then we have a snack and we like don't talk, and we watch it. And so yeah, and so like when it comes out, I mean, I'm super into it, and I've watched a lot of like totally nerded out on YouTube videos and stuff. And to me, Lord of the Rings. Well, I guess I want to say House of the Dragon is better to me, and Lord of the Ring or the Rings of Power, it's done really well and I love it. I have no bad thoughts about it, and I haven't read all the books. I've read The Hobbit and the first Lord of the Rings book. And I'm going to work through the other books, but I don't care if like the canon isn't exactly right. I just like
Yeah,
want a good experience, and I do think it is. But what is noticeable to me is that the dialogue, like the actual dialogue writing, seems way better on House of the Dragon.
it
Like,
is way better. Yeah,
yeah,
it's more relatable.
it just
So like,
seems
and
like
part of that's you already understand like the houses and stuff a little bit. And if you go back and watch the first season of Game of Thrones, part of it kind of feels that way, but it still feels more relatable. It still feels less detached, and it makes the political intrigue that you're really watching. But you're also kind of watching political intrigue in Rings of Power, even though it's not the primary thing. Uh, it makes it so much more accessible, and I just like that show is done really, really well. Like,
yeah.
and that's why it's so upsetting that they butchered the end of Game of Thrones. And the story is fine; it just needed more fleshing out to get us there. So I really, God, it has been tempting to like go down the like wiki of Ice and Fire, like one of the sources online, and just figure out how's this going to go. Like, because we already kind of know what happens in House of the Dragon or Dance
Well,
of Dragons,
I
but
mean, okay, so I've read Fire and Blood. Have you read that?
I haven't read any of the books now.
Okay, so Fire and Blood is like 700 pages, and it covers from Aegon's conquest and then up until about halfway to where we like if Robert's rebellion is the end and Aegon's conquest is the beginning, it gets about halfway there. And 200 of the 7 pages or of the 700 is kind of this House of the Dragons situation where basically there's a big civil war. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I definitely know the outcome, and anybody that's read the book would. Like, I know
Yeah,
who wins.
Caitlin's always like, "Do you want to?" I'm like, "No, shut your mouth. I don't want to know
Yeah.
what happened."
No, I'm not going to spoil anything, but um, I like I'm super into it, and I just think they're doing it so well. Matt Smith as Damon is killing it, and
He's been great. Yeah.
Viserys, the actor, I don't know his name. I think his first name is Patty, but um, he's really good as Viserys. And Viserys in the book is kind of a background character. He's like the king,
Oh,
but
okay.
his whole thing is that he's like a conflict avoider, and he lives a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, he doesn't live a super long time, but he lives a decent amount of time, but he doesn't really do anything, and it's mostly peace during his reign. And it's sort of like when he passes away, okay, who's going to succeed him? And it's the civil war that takes place.
Yeah.
And so during his reign, it's like mostly peace. And he's kind of just a background character. But the even George R. R. Martin came out and said that the actor that plays him does a really good job. But I
He
wanted,
does. He does. He seems like very. And conflict avoidance is like a great way to put it. But and I understand enough about what's happening to know like that's kind of his priority anyway. But he does a good job of expressing some like internal conflict, but like also like loving his daughter, and then like I he is a morally ambiguous character, but like his heart is kind of in the right place, and I think he's a good anchoring for the show. It almost feels like he kind of represents the audience if they were like actually living there. What we would want to happen is what he wants to happen, which is
yeah,
just peace.
for sure. So, Larry Strong, do you know which one that is?
Mm.
Okay, so Larry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Larry's or Laris Strong, he's the one that has like the little cane and he's sort of crippled. Um, have you seen the most recent episode?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
Okay, so he's brothers with Harwin Strong. That's the guy that maybe is the father of Rainier's children, and then both of their
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
dads is the Hand of the King.
Right, got it.
So Larry's, um, I guess I wanted to get your thoughts, and maybe you like haven't gotten super nerdy about this like I have, but um, Blood Raven. Do you know who Blood Raven is? The character. He's not in House of the Dragon.
No, I don't.
Okay, so Bloodraven is the guy that teaches Braun how to like be a tree wizard. He's like the guy that's stuck to the tree.
Oh, the guy, the man in the tree. His
The
name's Blood
three-eyed
Raven.
raven.
The three-eyed raven. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so his whole thing is that he can see through trees, he can see everything that ever was and everything that ever will be, but also he was a warg and a green seer. So the green seer means he has prophet he can see um things that are prophecies. And then the warg means he can like go into an animal and see through their eyes. And they said there's these three novella books that are about 100 pages each, and they're super fun and easy to read. But that giant old tree wizard guy is about 25 in those novellas, and he's called Blood Raven. He's a king's bastard,
Okay.
and he has the ability to see through animals. And that magic comes from the old gods, so the people that believe in the trees. The old god magic takes place in the north, like where the Starks are, and then
Yeah.
also in the Riverlands. And the Strong families from the Riverlands. And there's, if you notice in all these episodes, there's rats all the time. Like sometimes they'll just like the king will just like notice a
Yeah.
rat on a ledge and he'll kind of look at it and then it just like goes to the next scene. But there's always
I
like
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. And so like
So this is
Larry
like you think this
Strong,
is someone's watching this through the rats.
well, I don't know that. I mean it's not in the book and so it would be a show only made up thing, but he is from a part of the world that has this magic. And the way George R. R. Martin talks about Bloodraven is it's always implied. He never just comes out and says that Bloodraven can do this, but Bloodraven like there's all this stuff about how Bloodraven intentionally put Ghost with Jon Snow, like because basically Bloodraven wants Jon Snow to kill
Yeah.
the Night King and save the world, and so Bloodraven
Yeah.
through the background makes all of these things happen. Like John, for example, Ghost, his dog, goes and warns his brothers that he left camp and was like going back in the very first book because of his like dad going down to King's Landing and stuff. So Ghost goes and tells everybody, and then they come and grab him and bring him back up. And there's a million other examples of Bloodraven essentially like creating things to happen that just seem like a coincidence. And so you have to be like super next level nerdy to kind of pick up on a lot of that. But um like Larry Strong, they'll probably never come out and say it, but I do think he can probably see through the rat. Like another example would be he told Alicent Hightower that Rhaenyra drank that moon tea or that tea to make her baby go away, but like no one
Right.
would have known that that happened. But there was I think that there was a rat like in that
Yeah,
room when,
there's okay. I like this theory a lot. This explains a lot. And
and
this would be, I mean, I don't even know if that counts as a twist, but this would be a great element to add.
he's like he's trying to become kind of like the Varys, like the master of whispers, but where do they get their
Yeah.
information? He cuts out those people's tongues so they can't talk. That's just like Varys. And so it's like, okay,
Yep.
how is he getting these secrets? I think it's from the rats. And I think he can literally see and hear because he can warg. It's called warging, where he literally goes into
Right,
the
right, right.
rat and he controls the rat. So just like
This is
pay
like,
attention to see if you think that. I mean, I'm curious if you think that that could be a thing. So
yeah, you've got to get like a Game of Thrones guy on here. This is going to be great.
yeah, I would love to talk to like somebody that knows a lot about it because I'm super interested in it. But some people have like researched the books to like see if that stuff is true. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I go to the subreddit for it and like read through stuff, and I'm always like, what the hell? How do these people know this stuff? And now it makes sense. They read the books.